Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Carlos Brando. Thank you so much for joining us today in the show with one of the attorneys in the law firm of Margaret W. Wong and Associates, who have been working for over 46 years in the immigration field, helping thousands of families to get an immigration relief. And of course, today is Miss Wong's birthday. Is July 27. She's in celebration today. We are celebrating her life. I think it's her 74th or 73rd birthday. So we're glad to have her working, active, and willing to help a lot of people. And so many people could say, well, at the age of 73 or 74, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to work anymore. But guess what? The thing is that if you are the attorney Margaret W. Wong, you are not thinking about what you have to do for yourself, but what keeps you alive and active is what you can do for other people, for other families, for immigrants that need help, and of course, need help from somebody that knows your background, knows that the things that you are going through if you are an immigrant in the United States of America. So today we're going to have the attorney Allison Chan, who is one of the attorneys in the law firm with the attorney Margaret W. Wong and Associates. And thank you so much for having us today. Good afternoon, attorney Allison. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. Just need to say that last night I had a scary moment with the police because I made a wrong turn in a city that I don't know, and the police stopped me. But fortunately, the officer was nice, and he only gave me a kind of warning. He just told me, "Hey, just be careful. I know you're not from here. I see your license is from another state, but just be careful because we have a lot of accidents in this kind of turns that you just did." So, I was really thankful, and I'm actually really thankful for that. But we don't have many officers that can do that in the United States of America. So, um, Attorney Allison, one of the concerns that people still have is that um, if I am driving without a license, I will get deported. Um, if I get caught. So we know with former President Trump, it was really bad because they had the program 287G, but so many states don't have it now. So what happens um, if I'm driving without a driver's license and I don't have an immigration status and the police stops me? How bad is it at this point?
Sure. That's a really good question because many of the clients that come in and see us have that same question that they want to fix their status. They don't report it. So I want to clarify that if you've never that you're if you are encountered by ICE or stopped by traffic and then they transfer you to ICE, then the next question is, am I going to be deported? That depends on actually if you're subject to an outstanding removal order. Um, so ICE cannot actually deport you unless like physically deport you or fly you back to your home country unless you have an outstanding or previous removal or deportation order issued by the immigration judge. And then ICE's job is to execute that prior removal order. So they could technically remove you and physically deport you back to your home country if you have that prior removal. However, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are living, staying, and working in the United States without documentation and without any prior encounter to ICE or prior experience in immigration court. So technically, um, if you get stopped either by ICE or by traffic and then get referred to ICE, if you've never been encountered by immigration, you've never had problems at the border, and you've never been in immigration court or seen a judge before, you have a right to go see a judge in court. And so what they'll do is they can release you immediately and issue you something called a notice to appear before the immigration court, or they can detain you and keep you in immigration detention until you are bonded out. Now, you can get bonded out by ICE and then have to pay a bond and then get issued a notice to appear to go to court, or you would have to request bond from the immigration court. So I just want people to understand that difference, because some people who have been here for a long time and get stopped and placed in immigration custody, or court, that could actually be your ticket to eviction relief. A lot of people are eligible who've been here for a long time, may be eligible for something called cancellation of removal. If you haven't been here a long time, maybe you're eligible for asylum, even though you haven't filed for within the first year. So you can apply for applications with court. You have a right to apply for something that will allow you to stay here in the United States before the immigration judge. Does that make sense, Juan Carlos?
Yes, of course it does make sense. And well, fortunately, we don't have. I mean, this is not like the hardest moment for drivers, because we know that we need to drive. But now Florida is becoming one of the states that is more tough with these kind of situations, especially with this recent law that came up on July 1st, that is basically making people flee from the state of Florida. So um, one of the concerns there is that if I have a license, even if I am a citizen, and I'm driving with someone that has uh, no documents, then I would be in trouble. So, is this something that could get in trouble someone else for kind of trafficking with immigrants if they are riding with me in one car?
So that's what the fear is among immigrant families, and it has been a little bit of a lot of confusion. They released this new bill, and it took effect in the early July, and people all over the state started fleeing and becoming scared. And I think one of the reasons why, because there's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation about what it is, very scary policy, and it does criminalize people who are, I guess, driving others that do not have status. It also can criminalize people, or it invalidates. I believe it invalidates driver's licenses that were issued from other states that allow undocumented people to have that driver's license. So there are more than a dozen states that allow that. Like, for example, Illinois has a policy where undocumented people can get driver's licenses even if they don't have an immigration visa or immigration application pending that gives them a work permit to get a license. They will give you a driver's license just for having residence, establishing residency there, even if you don't have status. So something like that, if you have an Illinois license based on the, can't remember what it's called, but based on that and you're driving in Florida, then that is not a legal driver's license and you can get in trouble. Although they're not going to criminalize you, I think, for possessing one of those licenses, but they could still ticket you for not having a license. I believe that's what it is. It's all so confusing. Because of all the misinformation out there, I would be very careful going to Florida. Um, so I know that there's a lot of litigation and lawsuits pending in Florida right now against this bill. So I have a feeling, I hope that it gets knocked down so that people aren't as scared.
Yes, and effectively is a decision that is harming a lot of the economy in the state of Florida, because many workers are maybe in the agriculture, they are undocumented, or people that are going to Florida, um, they want to go to this Disney or Universal, or all of those parks that even may move out of Florida if they keep this kind of laws um, rolling in the state of Florida, that has been known by the tourism for over 50 years, 60 years in the past. So thank you so much, Attorney Allison, for this answer. The phone number, don't forget, is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. This person asks, How can I change my student visa for a worker visa? I am from India now studying IT,
He's
information technology.
from India in the United States studying IT on a student visa. A great question. I so you should have eligibility for something called OPT, optical practical training, after you graduate. And then if you're in a STEM program, you can get another additional couple years on the OPT. So you will be able to get a work permit to study work, depending on what you're studying. But then after that, I do see a lot of people who have trouble, getting an employer. Number one, getting an employer to sponsor a work visa, maybe an H-1B, especially occupation visa. And if you do have one, though, you would have to go through the lottery, the H-1B lottery. That H-1B lottery happens every spring, and the employer is required to register. If that employer is selected, then you go ahead and file the H-1B. There may be other ways to work without getting an H-1B. If you have other applications, if you can file for a green card based on a family visa, you get a work permit from that. If you can file for asylum, you can get a work permit based on that. Someone mentions U visa, you can get a work. There are many different categories of work permits that are not based on an employer sponsoring. But I think for this individual who's asking about a student visa, they're probably asking about working generally in their field. So look into your OPT or CPT programs at your school to get a work permit through there. And then from there, you'll need to find an employer that could sponsor maybe an H1. But you will be subject to the lottery. This is a problem with America, is that we restrict people from getting jobs through employers here in the United States after they've committed to studying here. And so and then they're forced sometimes to return to their home country, and we lose a lot of talent. So there's a lot of push on DC to really expand the number of H-1Bs. They only give out 85,000 a year. That's including master's degrees, and over 200,000 apply. So within a day, it's already all taken up. So you can always apply again the following year. If you're on OPT, then you just try again the following year for that lottery. You aren't subject to the lottery if that employer is affiliated, is a nonprofit, is a C3 status and affiliated with a college or university. So I would look into the employer and see if they have some type of relationship, nonprofit status and relationship with a college or university. Then you don't have to be subject to that lottery. I hope that does answer your questions, but you're always welcome to call our office. And I don't specialize in employment law, but we have a whole department that does, and we're happy to help you if you have any more specific questions.
Thank you so much, Attorney Allison. And don't forget, the phone number is 216-279-3984. 216-279-3984 is the phone number that you can call in the office. The Attorney Allison is in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this call is going to go directly to the person that you need to talk in order to get a consultation or to get an appointment for a consultation with one of the attorneys in the law firm of Margaret W. Wong. She has offices in 7 cities of the United States: Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. This person says, I obtained U visa and now I want to file for a green card. What do I need to do?
Great. So, congratulations on the U visa, because it can take up to 5 or 6 years to even get that U visa. So, once that visa is granted, it should be a 4-year work permit and a 4-year visa. You're eligible to file for a green card after being physically present in the United States for at least 3 years. So, if you've traveled on that U visa, then that cuts into that. So, you need to make sure you have the 3 years of continuous presence in the United States, that you didn't, so make sure you count those days. Then you can file something called a Form I-485. That's the application for the green card. Other requirements is that you have not unreasonably refused to provide assistance to law enforcement if they've asked for it. So say law enforcement or investigators have come to you for additional help after you got the U visa, and if you ignored them or you did not help them, then that could have impact your green card. So you will need to verify and confirm that you have continued to help or that you haven't at least refused to provide assistance. And that you also need to show that we usually have an affidavit or a statement from the client saying that they need to stay to take care of their family. Maybe they provide their good community member, volunteer. It's in the public interest of them to stay here. And hopefully you haven't gotten into trouble or had any problems in the United States with any criminal activities, because that could affect your green card too. But generally, wait 3 years, have to be present in the United States for 3 years, show that you haven't refused to work with law enforcement, and you can go ahead and file the I-485. I would also file for a work permit based on that new green card application, because your work permit with your U visa could expire while you wait for the green card to come or to be approved. So you need to file a new work permit with the green card. And hopefully they grant it without even interviewing you, but you may still have to interview. You may still have to go for an interview. They probably won't though. And yeah, that should be it on the U visa green card.
Thank you so much, Attorney Allison. We have a bunch of questions coming in, and we know we have to dismiss a little bit earlier. So, Sean Patel says, can you travel on foreign passport in the United States without papers or stamp on passport, an age citizen child to apply for parents undocumented?
Yeah, the first part, yes, you can travel is within the United States as long as you have a valid passport. That is a valid identification for travel purposes. I would just be careful when you're going to any airports that have it's not going to be careful when you're traveling near any of the borders in New York, like Buffalo. A lot of people get caught up on near that bridge in Buffalo. They make one wrong turn and they're suddenly on a bridge to Canada. Same thing happens in Detroit. I have a lot of clients that have problems in Detroit because they take a wrong turn and they get caught by immigration. I have clients that ask me, can I go to Puerto Rico? Can I go to the U.S. Virgin Islands? Can I go to Hawaii? Yes, technically you can with the valid passport, but I would not. I think it's always a risk because they'll check your passport, and if you get encountered by Border Patrol, they might ask you about your immigration status in the United States. And if you don't have any, then you could be served with papers to attend immigration court. And the second part of the question is, aged citizen children. I think it means what is the age citizen children can apply for parents with undocumented. So children who are U.S. citizens can apply for their undocumented parents at the age of 21. I know some people say 18, but it's not 18, it's 21. You have to wait till your U.S. citizen child is 21. Remember that filing an I-130 visa petition is only the first step to the green card. You have to establish the relationship. That's the I-130 petition. Once that's approved, then you file the green card. You're only eligible for the green card if you entered legally or you have something called protection under 245I laws, which is that Clinton law. That means someone filed a petition for you, either an employer or another person, before April 2001, and that you were present year 2000. So either you're protected under 245I or you came legally, and then you're eligible when your child turns 21 for the green card. If that doesn't apply to you, then you may need a waiver, okay? A waiver is a whole other ballgame, and I would recommend that if you have a U.S. citizen child that's here over 21 that can apply for you, but you came illegally, then we need to talk about a waiver. You should contact an attorney to see if you qualify and what that involves. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Allison. I'm going to go ahead and ask the next question. Sam Patel Says, I have U visa. Can I add my wife's name? I don't have a marriage SA.
So if you already got the U visa, so there's a difference between whether you got placed in the deferred action waiting list. So if you have a C14 work permit versus an A19 work permit. If you have an A19 work permit, that means you have a U visa already. You cannot technically, I don't believe, call our office to confirm this. You cannot add your wife in at this time, but once you apply for the green card, you can file for her. So she can eventually get a green card, but you can't go back and add her in as a U visa because you already have the U visa. But you would be eligible, she would be eligible to get status through your U visa when you become eligible for the green card. Okay. Then you can add your wives and spouses in when you got married after you got the U visa. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
And I would recommend he call us to check on that because there are some nuances and things that we needed to discuss about when your marriage happened, when you got the U visa, and when you're eligible for the green card, what needs to be filed when.
Okay, that's the answer. You need to call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. And next and last question is, I applied for the visa lottery about 4 years ago. Some people that say they're out from the visa lottery said that everything was paralyzed by the pandemic. Now they sent me an email on July 3rd asking me that I could send my passport and $5,000. I didn't send the money because it seems to me like a scam. What would you recommend for me to do? I even think that I might refer them to the police. I am in Panama, but would like to move into the United States, and I don't want to miss this opportunity if it's real, but it looks to me like a scam.
Yeah, can you contact our office or contact an attorney on it to figure out if it is a scam? We would need to see the paperwork, what you filed, and what they said for you to process this. Okay, so I would contact an attorney to talk to them because I'm not sure what the paperwork is that they sent to you, but I think we could figure out the next steps once we confirm that paperwork. Okay, because I absolutely would not want you to pay if it was a scam, but that we need to figure out if we can resolve that lottery situation and have you come over regardless. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Attorney Allison. And well, we know that you have to go for another appointment right now. So thank you so much for having us today. Looking forward to see you soon, and enjoy the birthday time for Attorney Margaret W. Wong in the office.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.
Thank you. You too. And don't forget that the attorneys in the law firm of Margaret W. Wong and Associates are ready to help you out with your immigration situation. So the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. That's the phone number to get in touch with the attorneys in the law firm of Margaret W. Wong and Associates. And by the way, Ms. Wong, if you get to see this video, happy birthday. Thank you so much. My name is Juan Carlos Brandon. I will be here next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. to get more information in Spanish, and then Thursday in English at 12:30 p.m. Have a good time, enjoy your lunch, and see you soon.